Thousands of low-income seniors across the country, including many here in the Valley, are without jobs because the Department of Labor has paused funding for them as of July 1st. These are people who work for nonprofit organizations such as Goodwill and Easter Seals. Vantage Aging, a senior community employment program, is directly impacted by this. Its Workforce Development Director, Tammy Bigler, joins us now to talk about the fallout due to the funding being stopped. Tammy, thank you for taking the time.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, so June 30th was the last day that your senior job seekers were able to report their work training sites or report to them. How many people were affected by that?
Throughout the two states that we run, Indiana and Ohio, it was over 600. In Northeast Ohio, we had over 270.
And the Department of Labor informed you to expect delays in the funding. Did it say why and if any of the funding might ever come back and resume?
So we were told in probably the beginning of June to expect delays. At that time, we weren't overly concerned as the funding's often delayed a week or two. However, as we got later into the month, they were still saying, significant delays. We normally get some guidance through some training and guidance letters that they send out. We never got those. So when we hadn't received any information by mid-June, we knew it was time to let our job seekers know that we wouldn't have any funding after July 1st.
Now, as a result, have you had to furlough some of your staff that works with the senior job seekers?
We did. We had to furlough about 80% of our staff that work with our Senior Community Service Employment Program. They're furloughed as of tomorrow, and that was about 22 individuals.
And you say you've reached out several times to the Department of Labor. What do you want them to know about how this is impacting people, the community, and the rest of the country?
Really, we wanted to know that they're impacting those who need the services most. The Senior Community Service Employment Program is a program that's aimed at those individuals that other workforce development programs don't serve. So not only are they over 55, unemployed, they have multiple barriers to employment. On average, our job seekers have 3 barriers to employment. They're low income, 91% of them live below the poverty level. They're living on less than $1,300 a month. And now by this delay in this program, they've taken $200 a week from these individuals. And we're receiving stories that, they can't pay for their utilities. Their cell phones are turned off. It's getting harder for us to stay in contact with them, even to make sure, what services they need.
We've heard about, prescription drugs versus their groceries, and, we don't know, but they're going through a lot of different issues. So we mentioned Goodwill and Easter Seals, but are there other job sites that you think are also affected by this?
Well, Easter Seals and Goodwill are 12 are part of like a dozen national grantees, including Vantage, that get the funding. But we serve, just in Northeast Ohio, we have 100 nonprofits that use our job seekers. So they're training them in skills, and in return, they're getting assistance in running their programs. So one example of an impact that we know is Protestant Family Services there in Mahoning County. They've had to limit the number of days they can hand out food, and are having to turn away individuals because they do not have the assistance they need.
All right, Tammy, thank you so much for joining us here at 5. We hope the funding will come through and you can find a resolution here. Thank you.